I'm excited to see what kind of adaptations these guys make in draft. You do see the Irelia going to be a consistent ban across the board. This Hacker and
Poor
Seraphim,
Miho.
pretty consistent bans across the board. I still expect to see the Udyr, but adaptation in draft, in terms of how the drafts themselves went, I didn't think that they necessarily had a bad draft.
Sure.
I just think that Glaive let Omega Gaming get this momentum, and maybe getting Panda on something where he's a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more self-sufficient in lane, will definitely help. Play for those range advantages so that you don't get, for lack of a better word, cheesed by the God Hand. But as we see that, we've got the Gragas first pick being locked in with ban staying the same.
And I think Glaive Rose is going to be a little more cautious about immediately locking in this Ornn to go into the Gragas, because consistently during the team fights, I think Twitch chat even pointed it out a little bit, was whenever the Call of the Forge God was made, whenever Ornn tried to pick up the phone, the explosive cast was coming out to interrupt the flow of that ultimate. This time, it's going to be the Xayah going over to Glaive Esports. The Featherstorm going to play in nicely to avoiding that explosive cast, and maybe even some hooks if the sub decides to lock in that signature Blitzcrank again.
And the name of the game is going to be extended team fights. These games, that game one was made or broken on these back and forth team fights that just lasted so long. So the team that can sustain through these team fights longer, or the team that, if we see a Leona lock in, for example, that can end it just in a snap, they're going to be the team that can take it here. Because those extended fights were very, very close, and having a Xayah ultimate, having Leona ultimate may have been what could have made or break the made or broken the game.
And Ivar in Twitch chat, Dory, he was ready for the Senna pick as soon as the Xayah was locked in. The late game threat of the Senna is massive, and people, we on the mid league, we were kind of, I feel like, the first group to kind of see the Rageblade Kraken Slayer Senna build pop up, and we were like, what the heck is going on? Is this a new thing? And everyone was like, yeah, Mac, mid league casters, the math checks out. It's kind of nasty. And I think it was AoE God Squad last week. Beastlands had a crazy game on the Senna. So the champion definitely here to stay, I think, in the meta, and that's what makes things so interesting in the bot lane for me, Dory, because you have options like the Jhin, like the Kai'Sa, but then you have these somewhat unmeta picks, but I feel like are perfectly viable with the Xayah, with the Senna. Aphelios, I think, is in the conversation, and the picks and bans are going to keep rolling through here as I'm talking. The Skarner, dude, locked in. Wow. Orianna's going to be taken away from To The Max. Completely understand that. Princeton's going to lose his AD champs in the mid lane. Shout out Gungeon for the pre-show a little bit. Won't be able to pick up any more wins on that one, but things kind of getting interesting. Glaive is going to have a much different look in this game, Dory.
Yeah, Glaive is looking to do something a little bit different. They're getting the Skarner pick coming out here. Now, Skarner's not very common. I don't know how I feel about it into this draft. You see the Galio, the Senna, and the Gragas able to disrupt Skarner in his ultimate. All of them have ways of disrupting Skarner and protecting their team. But then again, maybe that Skarner pick, maybe being able, like I said, to take control of Vision and make picks using Skarner. And I mean, even if you get a second of that ultimate, you're going to be paying the tax, right? How much gold does QSS cost? And Senna may have to build it, depending on what we see mid lane here. They may have to build. That's a Viego hover.
Oh,
and it's a Viego lock-in. Let's go.
It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's live right now.
Wow, first Vigo, at least on stream. It might have been picked earlier on tonight in other games that were not streamed. We might have to go and look at the match histories once all the week 4 action of mid-league has finished up. But this is going to be my first time seeing the Vigo on stream. I tried it on my own in-game earlier this week, and dude, this champion is bonkers. He's going to be able to steal the Senna, the Galio, the Gragas, take them over, and low-key, that's a lot of utility from these champions just in their basic abilities. You're going to be getting Galio taunt, potentially, or Senna. Keep in mind, when the Vigo takes over and kind of possesses enemy champions, he is that champion, items included. So he's got to be careful not to take over anyone that's been kind of getting dumpstered in the early game, because then
this is some 5-head stuff. This is some 5-head stuff. All right. So Karma gets locked in, right? Viego can't use the champion's ultimate. That's the only stipulation.
Right.
Can't use mantra, man. No. Jokes aside, this is actually, like you said, a really powerful composition to be playing Viego into. It's like seeing it's like picking Silas into a press Argon. I'm excited to see how it goes, especially since it's going in a solo lane, and it seems like it's going mid lane. And they're trying to say, you know what? We're gonna beat you at your own game. To Princeton, because Princeton, all about them AD assassins. AD champions, range champions, marksman assassins, doesn't like mages apparently, but neither does our mid lane on the side of Glaive this game.
I guess Ivar is going to be bored with this composition from Omega. Hopefully the spice from Glaive is going to keep things interesting, because this Kennen top pick for Miho, there's a playmaker for the Glaive top laner. No Ornn duty for him this time around, and I honestly think the range advantage going into the Gragas is going to be really nice. Should be able to keep yourself pretty socially distanced up in the lane, and then come team fight, wow, Glaive is going to be brutal. I especially want to go back to the Skarner pick, Dory, because I think putting McShoots on more of a playmaker is only going to make Glaive function better. He was on the Lilia last game. Going the Moonstone Renewer we saw in those early mid-game team fights that really allowed Omega Gaming to kind of take over the game. As soon as Panda got blown up, it was all up to it was Sizestone and oh goodness. And McShoots, pardon me. I just said the name and it short-term memory of the brain completely failed me there. McShoots on the Lilia, he had the Moonstone Renewer completed and he was just trying to 1v9 the team fights with the Moonstone Renewer build, and it was not working at all. So I think on the Skarner, he should at least be able to set up the team a little bit better, as the teams are once again going to go through this draft. We already know the picks locked in, and I think it's good. The Vigo in the mid lane, going into the Galio, I mean, I think it's going to be a Galio to support, though, and Vigo's going to have to go into Karma, Dory. That's going to be, I think, a brutal matchup for Totemax. That's going to be, he's going to have to put on his try-hard pants, I think, for game number 2.
Yeah, I was actually going to end up asking, do you think the Galio or the Karma? But I think you're right. Having that range advantage into Viego, part of the big complaints that I personally had jungling on Viego early on was Riot tried to design this jungler that has no sustain, can't clear the jungle, and clears. And if he does clear, he clears it really slowly and can't gank. So I've seen a lot of people trying to play it into lanes, and it has been having a little bit more power. But at the same time, he really lacks that sustain. And if he's against a ranged matchup with enough pressure in the early game, like Karma, has really good base numbers, has a really inexpensive build, going that Moonstone Renewer most likely. It's going to make it very difficult for Viego to be a champion early on. And that push priority and river control was what kind of won Omega Gaming that first game.
Yeah, Totemax is going to be walking into lane all hunky-dory, but mid lane is no place for melees when you're going into Karma. The W and the Q, you just walk into all the Karma has to offer, and it's a lot, especially early game with the mantra boost. That's going to be available from the get-go, and those routes are going to be hurting. I think especially if Princeton is going to be able to, I think, pick up an early Seeker's Arm Guard, going to want to do that against, I feel like, the Skarner and the Xayah as well. He's going to be just fine getting the Moonstone Staff of Flowing Water combination online, giving the whole team move speed. And when it comes for these big engages, well, I feel like the sub is going to have yet another big game, because you have, once again, a very solid counter engage setup from Omega Gaming Unleashed. And this time around, Glaive Esports actually leaning much more heavily into the engage portion of their composition. Looking at what they had last game, the Thresh, the Ornn in the top lane didn't get a lot done, and Omega Gaming were able to control the fights from there. Now Glaive Esports are supplying a lot more tools to the party, but Omega Gaming's response, I think, to the overall composition, I wonder if it's going to be a minor draft if, once again, heading into the game, Omega Gaming Unleashed, going off of what Ivar was saying in chat, this has got to be a comfort zone for them heading into the game. I feel like they're off of the back of starting off with a dub, man. I feel like they got to be feeling even better coming into this game too.
It looks like it, and like you said, their drafting has been just immaculate tonight. Especially this draft too. While the Skarner is interesting, I think it might struggle a little bit to find ultimate options. Like, I guess, in your opinion, Mac, what would you say a good target for Skarner would be to initiate a fight?
I mean, don't let the Senna pick fool you. She is going to be a big damage threat, especially if this game goes late. Once the Rage Blade Kraken Slayer combo is online, it's absolutely brutal, man. The attack speed, the crit, the scaling get out of this world. So I think you got to be looking for either the Senna potentially caught out. Graves is going to be tricky because if he's right by a wall, he's just going to be able to dash over it. And Karma has a lot of move speed available to her. I feel like you gotta stay away from the tanks. Maybe going for the Gallery could be a potential option to try to negate that hero's entrance from the fight into kind of, I mean, if you're gonna go look for the engage, maybe target the counter engage tools that are gonna be available for the team. But again, as you were kind of mentioning to start with that question, Dory, it's a really tricky situation for mixed shoots to be in. All I'm looking for, though, is for Glaive to be making those kinds of picks. If they're able to get the numbers advantage, it doesn't really matter who's going to be getting pulled back in. If all 5 members are there with the follow-up, with the Leono coming in for the 5 seconds of CC, with Panda coming in with the DPS as well, and then the Kennen to follow up any potential engage. I mean, starting off the fight with an Impale, I feel like if the rest of the team there is available for follow-up, you can't go too wrong with it, Dory. You can't miss. Really, point and click CC tends to do the trick.
No, you can't. Absolutely. And I do really like the team fight potential from the side of Glaive Esports. I think this game can get really out of control if it goes to a 5v5 position because, like you said, while Senna's damage is pretty insane, Karma's damage will eventually fall off. Gragas is going to be mostly utility. He does have good burst, but sustained deep fight DPS isn't really his forte. So you're looking at Gragas and Senna or not Gragas, Graves and Senna as your primary team fight DPS, whereas you have multiple options from the side of Glaive. We have seen a little bit of commentary from Twitch chat mentioning that the Kennen might have some difficulty having a sustained team fight presence due to all the CC, but at the same time, I think there's plenty of tools to get Kennen into the fight from a flank, as opposed to having Kennen run straight on, right? So the CC that Kennen's afraid of isn't really going to be as much of a threat if team fights are positioned properly.
Yeah, the Galio ultimates are going to be huge to watch. Omega Gaming, when that lightning storm comes in, they're going to need a hero to turn around the fights.
Yeah, and as we go into it, we've got 1 game left on the night. This has been Mac Dewey and Dory K. We have 1 more game for you lined up. We're about to transition on over to Gungeon again and Idea PC one more time, and we'll see you guys at the end of our final game of the night. Thank you.
Welcome back there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, Twitch viewers. I'm the Idea PC, joined by Gungeon here for game number 2 of Omega Gaming Unleashed up against Glaive Esports. Rose and 2 to Max is piloting that Viego, and I double-checked during the break, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first time we get to see it here in Mid-League, and it is on stream for our final game of the night. But last one here, Gungeon, welcome back, my friend.
I am super excited to see Viego. I'm super excited to see these teams go head-to-head after that banger of a game one. Again, back and forth and back and forth. It looked like Omega Gaming had it all wrapped up, and then such great team fighting around the Elder Dragon pit by Glaive Esports. Then another God Hand hook by the sub in that top lane inhibitor for the side of Omega Gaming, and they end up coming in with the win in game number 1. But we're in game number 2, and we are getting ready to just, again, everyone just fans out and gets ready for the early game.
I think we're seeing a swap. I actually think we're seeing Miho mid lane and 2 to Max up towards the top. He's accepted the fact that, yes, this Karma lane matchup is going to be absolutely terrible for him if he decides to keep it.
No, yeah, that's a... Yeah, I honestly like that change a lot more. I wonder if Omega Gaming maybe try, especially on the first reset, to try to go back to that Karma versus the Viego matchup. But for now, I think Glaive kind of supplanted that early game mismatch.
Yep, should be interesting to see exactly how that one will turn out. Skarner, though, one of my favorite champions in League of Legends.
Same.
Got to be here on the board.
Skarner mains.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see him. Yeah,
you know
I
what?
think he just augments the game so well and just forces everyone to have to buy QSS or get pulled.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I started out as a jungler in League of Legends, and it was X-Smithy's Sejuani and Skarner that got me like excited about the champions. So I was playing a lot of tank utility junglers, all because of that man right there. But yeah, nice little trade there by Simulcrum up towards the top side of the map there against this Viego. And you know, it's gonna be interesting to see how the professional players play around Viego as well.
I mean, he is definitely a high skill camp champion. His combos, again, they don't deal a lot of damage, but a lot of people have been seeing him played more as the mid lane AD assassin build with the Kraken Slayer plus sometimes the Triforce as well. But I'm excited to see how Totomax does play him. He does, again, in terms of possession and everything, he does take a lot of skill, because you don't actually want to be almost instantly possessing the person you just killed, because sometimes you're just stronger as Viego than the person that you took, because again, you take their base stats as well. So if you end up taking like, I don't know, something like a Karma in the middle of a team, you could just instantly die rather than be Viego. But there are situations, especially on the side of Omega Gaming, where taking that Gragas is going to be huge. Taking that Galio in these team fights is going to be huge as well. So I'm excited to see how Totomax plays the mid game and the late game team fighting. Yep,
very, very high skill cap champion, not just the, you know, in the 1v1, but in those team fights as well. Multi-dimensional champion. A little bit of a late level 3 there for the Omega Gaming Unleashed bot lane, but they're doing pretty okay. We do have the good old Fasting Senna composition actually here, so that is also super exciting to see, actually getting brought out here in the mid-league as well. I think it actually might be the first time that we're seeing that on stream as well. So, kind of fun. Oh, did we? Did we get it earlier?
Senna in about, I think it might have been week 2 or 3, I believe, that we saw Fasting Senna, but I think it was with a Nautilus support instead of a Galio, so this is the first time we've seen this combo, but honestly, I do like it. It'll allow Senna scales super well, just getting her passive soul stacks plus the fasting gold generation, and Galio with some items honestly can be a decent AP threat, and honestly does a lot of damage in these team fights.
Yeah, but now a gank coming here. McShoot's going to be looking for something here. That's going to be a nice route, though, to try and get the disengage here, and that's not really going to mean a whole lot. They barely, I don't even think they took nearly any damage.
No,
just ran the sub there. Full health.
Yeah, outputting more damage than they actually took there. But again, McShoot's on the Skarner pick. You don't really, again, it's great if you get ganks off early, but it's really going to be that level 6 mark where he really tries to get something off. Again, you expect the Graves to be ahead in this matchup, especially early, where he can just kind of invade the Skarner and get that that camp lead. But the second that level 6 hits, I want to see what Mixed Shoots does with that power spike.
And Skarner going to opt in here for the early tier 2 boots. Will obviously be vital for this champion. Nice little route there, though, onto the sub. And these bot lanes really just kind of duking it out, fighting it. And Graves, Fallen Artemis, actually going to be forced off here. Could be in a little bit of trouble here. Going to have to flash up and over the wall there. Get himself up to safety into the waiting arms of Princeton.
That's going to be really big because when Skarner does hit that level 6 mark with Fallen Artemis not having that flash, if he ends up getting the counter gank off, he can do a lot of work. Oh my god, great trading by Totemax on this Viego.
Yep, very, very well done. You just have to really kind of give it to him. The guy is very, very talented. He's got a lot of skill individually as a player. And it's really showing itself to be true here in the mid-league. Smolcrum having a really, really hard time being able to walk up to that wave. But now Graves coming in here. Ooh, that's going to be a nice ultimate there from Smolcrum. Able to put Totemax out here. And could actually be in some trouble. Teleport, though, going to be called out here. Miho going to be coming on in. Does have the ultimate available. Is able to find the stun up there. And First Blood going to go on over into the hands of that Viego. Now looking for the tower dive, does have the Graves here, is going to be able to get quite a bit of damage off, forcing out the flash here, and flash forward stun, looking for the kill. Ladies and gentlemen, Miho going to catch that one with the flash auto, and make that a 2-for-0 up in the top lane with a wonderful play coming out here from Glaive.
A great TP by Miho there, and again, able to turn that top lane. It looked like Totemax was kind of up to die up there, but again, great TP by Miho. Princeton wasn't able to respond. He wasn't actually even in vision range to see that the TP was going off, and again, the 2v2 gets the kills onto Totemax plus Miho, and these two champions spike really hard on that first item spike with the Kraken Slayer and the Proto Belt, and this is going to be really huge to get them to that point.
Yeah, Sidestone here. Going to be trying to find maybe a little bit of a flank, but now is going to get knocked up there by the Galio, and now a teleport coming in here from Viego. Going to be looking for something, a little bit of damage here. The sub is going to be reinforced there by Princeton and Smolcrum. It's now a 3v4, and this is going to be trouble for Glaive Esports Rose. Viego going to be really, really low here on the health bar. Grog's going to be taking up the turret here. He's spotted out, though. That's going to be the kill going over the way, and they're actually able to make it to Omega Gaming Unleashed, able to get the kill underneath the turret there as the sub comes up clutch, my friends.
Great 3-for-0 for the side of Omega Gaming Unleashed. They try to use Totemax's TP to try to just force the play onto the bot lane, but Adjustment and the sub were just able to play it so safe, honestly. Again, that Senna Galio lane is so hard to gank. They're so tanky. They have so much utility. They were able to keep them around until Princeton and Smolcrum's TP came through, and they're able to turn it, and they pick up the 3-for... I believe it's a 3-for-1, actually, because Senna ended up dying. But the 3-for-1, and the gold is now pretty much back to even at this point.
Yep, have to hand it to him there. Well done and executed by Omega Gaming Unleashed to kind of pull this game a little bit back to parity. But Glaive Esports Rose still going to be the team with a slight gold advantage here. And realistically, a lot of that actually coming from the difference in the solo lanes right now. Miho sitting about 1,000 gold up on the Gragas. Viego sitting about 300, 400-ish gold above his lane opponent as well. So, you know, again, hats off to this Glaive Esports roster. These solo lanes, they really have been the ones that have carried them through a lot of kind of the matches we've seen in the mid-league. You know, it just kind of goes to show that they really are that good. And Sidestone here actually going to get caught on up here. Solar Flare only going to find the slow on Fallen Artemis, and Panda going to be able to get a little bit of damage now off, though. Adjustment actually could go down. Has to be very, very, very careful. Does not want to get baited out here, though, by the healing that comes out from this Senna. Has to be careful.
They try to get the gank off, but again, Glaive Esports spot lane is just a level ahead, so the amount of damage they're just able to output, especially having the Leona and the Xayah ulti threat, was just a little bit too much. And again, nothing much happening. I know we didn't get to talk about this, obviously, because we're not on the analyst desk, but in terms of composition, ooh, top lane, they're just going for it.
Yep, Skarner going to be able to look for the stinger. There it is. You are suppressed. Totomax, though, going to be able to find a little bit more damage, and he's going to be handed on over the kill here, as that will be his second of the game. Definitely looking at this Viego and saying, hey, you know what? We do not want this champion to be absolutely useless at 25 minutes in the game, so let's give him some gold now.
And this is going to be such a huge spike for Totomax, as he already has the Kraken Slayer completed at 10 minutes. Viego with his... Ooh, bot lane.
Yeah, that's going to be Sidestone with a nice sidestep in front of the sub to be able to avoid the knock up onto his AD carry. But now Panda so low. That's going to be a nice Feather Storm to be able to get himself up and out to safety here. But I don't know if you can stay underneath that tower for that gold, my friend. The rest of this team is coming on over. And then Sidestone goes down, almost makes it 2. As Fallen Artemis out here smurfing on the Graves.
Great 2v2 by the side of Adjustment and the sub. Again, if you cannot execute this bot lane fast as the Xayah and Leona, they just kind of turn it on you with the amount of slows, the amount of CC, the amount of healing, the amount of damage. And again, great 2v2 by the Adjustment and the sub, but the big problem is Totomax has Kraken Slayer at 11 minutes. If you don't know, Viego's passive, whenever he uses an ability and he hits it on you, he gets a double auto. With Totomax having Kraken Slayer, he can proc that about 3 times every combo. And so Totomax does an absolute truckload. I believe that is the metric unit for that. A truckload of damage right now. And I don't know who you can send up against him, but whoever it is very close to death, if not immediately dead.
I mean, right now he is sitting here pretty comfortably.
Yeah, he is a menace.
99 CS. At 90 CS, my bad. But he is sitting, he's been able to slowly grow this gold lead. He's actually now sitting at about 1,800 gold over his lane opponent in the Karma, at least, in that regard. But now Flash coming out, shoots, going to be able to find the Stinger. Nice CC chain coming up here with Miho as he finds the Slicing Maelstrom and a kill in the column for this top laner from Glaive Esports Rose.
In terms of team comp wise, I would say in this game, a lot of the team comp for the side of Omega Gaming is that ball comp that we saw on the side of Glaive Esports in game number 1. So they kind of swapped positions because, again, the strength of this comp is when they're all together. When Simulacrum on the Gragas, when Princeton is together, and they can kind of turn the Graves into this frontline heavy damage dealer with the Galio ulti on top of him. If you kind of weaken all of the pieces, if you weaken up the top lane, if you weaken the Karma in the mid lane, that Voltron never assembles. And so with Totomax having the lead, with Miho having this lead, the amount of dragon control that these guys will get is huge. Kennen right now will get Proto Belt soon. He will also probably finish Morelos as well by the time that 3rd dragon is up. This could be a 24-minute Dragon Soul game for the side of Glaive Esports.
Yep, they're going to need to focus on making sure that they can continue to get themselves a little bit of priority down here towards the bottom side of the map. More picks like that coming out of McShoes is exactly what they're going to need if that is going to be the ultimate goal here. But now Sidestone going to be in some trouble. He's going to get locked up, rooted up. That's going to be the stun. That's going to be the knock-up. That's going to be the kill. Going on over to the center. Double it is handed over, but now teleports coming from all across the map. Totomax going to be here. Flashing out is the sub as they are not able to find too much, but Totomax almost there, going to overextend, is going to have to flash out. So flash for flash there from the sub and 2 to max, but all the teleports expended down here on the bottom side of the map to try and keep that Omega Gaming Unleashed roster safe in the retreat.
And Omega Gaming, their chance of winning the game kind of flashed before their eyes. If Totomax had been able to get on top of anybody, if Miho had been able to get on top of anybody, that would have been a complete wipe for the side of Glaive Esports. Great TP by Simulacrum. Great Gragas ulti as well. Absolutely able to disengage that fight and kind of keep them in this game because it was about to get really ugly really fast.
Yeah, really ugly real quick here. Cloud Dragon, though, is our soul for the game. So, once again, back-to-back games. Cloud Dragon on the table. Not exactly the most exciting of matchups, but it is what it is.
How can you say that as a Skarner player? Cloud Dragon, that's us. That's what we do.
It is what he wants. I'm not saying it's not good. You're right. But definitely not the big banger, you know? Kennen,
Kennen with
True.
Slicing Maelstrom, kind of just running through the comp. Totomax resetting every time he gets his ulti off. There's a lot of Cloud Dragon uses. Obviously, it's not the Infernal Dragon super big pop damage, but there's a lot of uses for the side of Glaive Esports.
See, that's what I want. I want huge, big pop damage. I want to be able to blink and miss everything that I was supposed to play by play.
Well, let's see if Totemax fights somebody, because again, you may blink and they might be dead almost instantaneously. He is such a monster in the top side, and you can see Glaive is playing around him. You have Sightstone just in that top side, getting complete vision control for him, and there's nobody that can even face. Oh, they're gonna drop the Rift Herald up or mid.
Yeah, Herald's gonna be easily dropped down here into the mid lane now. McShoot's gonna be hovering around this tower, and Fallen Artemis, Adjustment, and Simulacrum gonna try and keep this one a little safely. Not able to get too much value off of that Rift Herald there, but Senna going to pick up a lot of souls for it. And Panda actually 1v1 in the Galio down here in the bottom lane is just going to be able to whack and smack at that tower. Not going to be able to quite take it down just yet, but surely it will soon, so do so. Dragging up in 40 seconds here. Both teams getting some of those recalls off, and it's going to be Glaive Esports Rose coming down. 3 members, maybe 4 members strong. Coming back from the base, Skarner adjusting himself over from mid lane. They're going to be the first ones to set up vision for this objective, and they're saying, hey, you know what? We're going to take it. This one puts us on Soul Point. And then what are you going to do, Omega Gaming Unleashed? You're going to have to follow us everywhere we go on the map. You don't want us to have it. You make a great point. I mean, Miho, Tutamax, both of these players can obviously benefit from it. McShoots amazingly benefits from it as well. So definitely a lot of options here for the Glaive Esports Rose roster to make good use of that Dragon Soul.
And if I'm on the side of Omega Gaming, I pretty much just let this third dragon go. Try to get as much farm in the side lanes. Hope if you're very lucky in terms of rotations, you can try to get a tower. But again, you cannot contest this right now. You're so far behind in terms of items. Every single member on the side of Glaive Esports, besides Sightstone, has his mythic completed already. You get absolutely wiped in these Dragon Pit fights at the moment. Just try to farm up. Hopefully you can get to the point where maybe Adjustment hits that Kraken Slayer. Oh, good ulti by Simulacrum.
Yeah, that's going to be some damage there. And not quite able to find anything off the back of it, but a tower will go down in favor for Glaive Esports Rose. Trying to slowly expand that gold lead. I mean, they're sitting right now almost about 4K ahead of their opponents here. Pretty well done. And it really just comes off the back of being able to CS and farm very, very effectively. And, you know, I keep mentioning it, and I will keep mentioning it for as long as it is relevant. When you just CS better than your opponent and you're able to make equal or better decision-making type plays on the map, you will just always have a gold lead.
Yeah, again, you mentioned in game number 1, Totemax and Miho are probably 2 of the best in terms of just solo lane stats in terms of CS per minute in the league. They play super well. They always get their farm, even when they are significantly behind in terms of lane state. There's going to be a big fight in this top lane. They are sending 5 members to help Totemax break this tower down.
Yeah. Kind of crazy up here. Simulacrum actually could be in a little bit of trouble. Adjustment, though, going to be the one caught out here. Oh, no, not quite. Skarner ulti not going to quite land as the reinforcements now coming in here from Omega Gaming Unleashed. Trying to find the picks, trying to find something, but not going to be able to find much. It's going to be one more turret down up towards the top side of the map as the tier 2 does fall. And 2 to max now. Just slowly waiting. Got to pick up an easy cannon minion. That's a couple hundred, or a couple tens of gold into the pockets. Back, but Skarner may be in a little bit of trouble. No, not quite. He's just going to run insanely fast.
And again, it looked like a little... it looked like a bit of a weird interaction with what happened there, but McShoots tried to Skarner ulti onto Adjustment Senna, but the second the Senna Shroud goes down, it gives that layer of invisibility onto the Senna, and it actually basically cancels the tether that is Skarner ulti. If as Skarner's casting it, the Senna Shroud comes out, it will basically cancel the Skarner ulti because he loses vision of her for about that quarter second immediately. So just a weird interaction happening there. It looked kind of trolled by McShoots, but again, they are able to break open the top lane inner tower, and now I'm surprised they actually keep Totemax in the top lane. I feel like if he had just headed down bot, he could have tried to pretty much break down the bot lane inner tower as well, but I guess they're just going to try to force McShoots into that top lane inhibitor.
Yeah, pretty happy with the matchup right now here, though. Miho going to take a little bit of damage from the Karma. And Simulacrum going to get spotted out on the ward here. Sightstone is in a great spot for the flank here, but the Sub and Artemis are on the way. McShoot's going to have to run for his life. Tutamax still working down on that Krug. No, Grump will be able to pick that one up. Nice and easy peasy. But still no real fight, real engagement yet from these two teams. We have a little bit of posturing up here towards the top side Baron, and that is actually going to get started up here now by this Glaive Esports Rose roster.
Know this is very aggressive. But they do have TP wards. Watch the TP wards for Miho. Oh, he's going for it. Watch the cannon.
Gonna be looking outside. Stone in some trouble. That's gonna be death to that jungler. The Scorpion is down, but the flash, and oh my god! Kennen, he's able to get the damage. A huge slicing maelstrom for 4 members, but do they have the damage on the back line here? Yes, they do. Panda gonna be ripping through the front line, and that's gonna be the turnaround here for Glaive Esports Rose.
But again, that was a perfect bait by Glaive, having the flank wards already in the side of. Oh, they're gonna get the pick.
Looking for now. Sidestone actually in trouble, but Panda still able to put some fire down. Tudamax going to be jumping from target to target to target here. Simulcrum taking up the front line. Fallen Artemis, though, in a little bit of trouble. Princeton has no health. That's going to be the stun. And Panda trying to continue to push back the members of Omega Gaming Unleashed. Both these teams fighting for their lives here on Summoner's Rift.
And Cloud Dragon's up in 35 seconds, and the rest of Omega Gaming Unleashed has to reset right now. But again, great flank from Miho, but it looked like Glaive Esports had just been a little bit too deep into that Baron Pit. If they had been able to kind of pull out of that Baron Pit, bait Omega Gaming into chasing them a little bit further, that would have been a complete wipe, but it ends up going in favor of Omega Gaming 2 for 1. But again, now they have positioning on this Cloud Dragon Soul, and honestly, I wonder if Omega Gaming even try to contest this.
Yep, looking for it now.
They're going.
Trying to find a little bit of damage. Teleport's going to be coming on through here. Simulcrum now here into the fight. Now looking for it. Coming around one more time. Dragon going to be started up here, though. Miho joining back with the rest of his team. And Viego on the back here. Tudamax trying to make something happen. Making this team second-guess themselves about when they should or can't engage. Galio, though, they're going to be able to get a little bit of a taunt onto Sidestone, but it does not mean too much. Still getting zoned off of this Cloud Dragon. Dragon now sitting at about 50% HP, but will reset. Tudamax just continually sitting back here, trying to hide and be sneaky. But both these teams just very, I don't know, very non-committal.
Yeah, they don't want to commit to this, but I feel like Glaive is getting chunked out decently hard. Unless Miho can find a flank, I feel like as Omega Gaming, or as Glaive, you kind of try to just give this Dragon up, because, again, the power of that cannon really comes from this,
hold on, Tudamax, though, gonna get rooted up. No, we'll be able to jump away. There it is, Skarner trying to find it. Will not be able to get it just quite yet. Miho on the flank here, but the rest of Omega Gaming Unleashed will be able to center themselves around and regroup here near the Dragon Pit. Dragon gonna get started back up here by Glaive Esports Rose, but now finding the taunt once again onto that Leona. Not gonna really be what you want. Dragon sitting about 25% HP. Smite fight will go down in the way of the blue team. That's gonna be Omega Gaming Unleashed. Huge Galio ultimate trying to find the knockup here. Miho too low of health. One more auto will do it, and the end of the line shut down here for Fallen Artemis, and Mick shoots. And Panda stuck underneath their tier 1 bot lane turret. They're going to get dove. That's going to be McShoots going on down. And no casualties here just quite yet for the side of Omega Gaming Unleashed, as they're able to turn around an amazing fight.
And this is what I mean. A lot of times, especially when teams get into the lead, they kind of lose what their identity is as a team comp. As Glaive Esports, you cannot try to 5v5 fight this ball comp that Omega Gaming is running. This is what you ran last game. Why would you know how this kind of comp works? Why would you try to play exactly into their hand? They try to do just a straight line 5v fight where Miho tries to walk into Omega Gaming's comp, and obviously Simulcrum is going to just CC lock him. Miho was never able to get into the backline, never able to get good ulti ops. Totemax had already gotten chunked out and had his ulti burned by the subs engage on Galio, and they just didn't have any way to play, and they still tried to contest the Dragon. Again, great smite by Fallen Artemis to secure that, ends up taking the Cloud so that there's no Dragon Soul opportunity at the moment, but just losing sight of what their comp does, but they might get a pick.
Yeah, the bush looking really, really dangerous right here. Simulcrum going to be knocked to about 50% HP, but does have some healing. That's going to be Karma now coming out here, speeding up this rest of this team, trying to find a pick, trying to find something, but the rest of Glaive Esports going to be able to disengage effectively there. The Senna, though, adjustment really starting to get some of his later game power here. If we go ahead and do a Senna soul check, Senna currently sitting at 94 souls is a huge, huge, huge increase to that champion's power, actually gaining about 70 attack damage in addition to another 100 range with a 40% critical strike chance to boot. Means that she's actually hitting pretty hard. And when you have this Glacial Augment build on this type of champion, it makes the live of champions like Skarner, like Viego, really, really, really difficult. Because as soon as you try to walk into range of anything, you get autoed, you get slowed, and it makes it just a lot harder for you to be able to find that accurate pick, and it gives Omega Gaming Unleashed time to be able to kite back and time to be able to regroup themselves if they decide that they don't like a certain fight.
I like how Glaive is now playing the map at the moment. They're sending Totemax into that bot lane. He has the TP, so he can join if there is some sort of rush happening, but there is nobody on the map that can match Totemax at the moment. The only person that can probably match is Fallen Artemis with one of the supports by his side, because Totemax is huge when it comes to just 1v1 power. And that's what they need to do. They need to try to split up Omega Gaming, cause them to make these difficult decisions where do I either check the Baron pit or do I go contest Totemax in the side lane? Because whatever decision they make is going to end up being wrong, because Totemax right now draws probably 2 to 3 members from the side of Omega Gaming.
Yep,
so
very, very,
don't
very
opt
strong.
in for these team fights. Only opt into them if you can get a flank like we saw Mihio get in that Baron fight initially.
Yep, absolutely here. They are sitting with a pretty good gold advantage, though, from this Glaive Esports roster. Viego, let's do a little quick gold check here. 4,000 gold, my friend. 4,000 gold, nearly 4,000 gold up against Princeton here in the lane. Obviously, with the swap earlier, maybe numbers are a little bit different, but you don't want to check what top looks like right now. That being said, he is just so incredibly strong, sitting on these 3 fully completed items. Boots to kick it as well. And I do see the Grievous Wounds actually coming in here for the Xayah, which I do think is kind of interesting. On the next patch, Grievous Wounds are getting a pretty substantial buff, which just means that champions which rely on a lot of healing inside of their kits become a little less useful. But now the stun going to be coming up here. Smallcrum, there's no health left. Is able to get the chunks out there.
They're
with
gonna
that
go
percent
Baron.
health damage. Yep, Baron easily going to be started up here by Glaive Esports, and Omega Gaming Unleashed, they just do not have quite any kind of positioning on this right now. Miho, though, waiting on the flank, does have the blast code available to him. This could be dangerous. Baron, though, gonna get started up, and here it comes. Miho waiting. Now it is. Slicing Maelstrom right on the and that's a huge one. One more time. Give it to the man in purple, but he's gonna get knocked up, taken on outside snow, now in trouble, but Viego has arrived. Panda gonna be flashing out, but it will not be enough. Shut down here for the sub as the God Hand strikes once more. Totemax gonna get chunked out here by this Senna with that range. So far, a 1-4-3 trade in favor of Omega Gaming Unleashed as they're able to turn it around. And Miho, he gets the flank, he gets the slicing Maelstrom, but it just is not enough.
And again, Glaive mis-executes their comp once again. They already saw what Totemax does to Simulcrum in the side lane. They try to bait the Baron. They draw the enemy team. They draw Omega. Oh my god, they're gonna rush it. But this is on Vision.
Looking for the Baron here, trying to rush this one down. They have a lot of damage, but I just do not think that it is enough. It's not enough here. The sub going to be here. Adjustment
This doesn't work.
It's the teleport. That's going to be the kill going on over to the sub. Totemax, though, trying to find the sub. They're able to turn that one around. Nice stopwatch there from the Galio, able to buy enough time for the rest of Omega Gaming Unleashed to get in here, but Totemax is healing up way too much. This man is unkillable, ladies and gentlemen. Double kill now here for him. Is going to take the karma up, and Artemis is going to be chased down and killed. Triple kill here for Viego. Ace for Glaive Esports Rose, and Baron is the prize.
I hate it when I have to say that the winning team made the worst play, but it ends up working out because Totemax just absolutely dunks on the side of Omega Gaming Unleashed. Again, they don't have any healing reduction on the side of Omega Gaming, besides basically the Bramble Vest that Simulcrum picked up, and so Totemax just absolutely runs through that team, is able to heal every time he gets that passive soul basically take, plus his passive, and again, he dunks on him, but in terms of the overall state of the game, I feel like Glaive Esports misplayed, but Totemax is just too good.
Way too good on the champion here, and pretty far ahead in gold now. 8K in their favor. It feels pretty dang on good if you're Glaive Esports Rose. And if you can continue to have fights like that, where you're able to make sure that Viego stays alive, I think that the path to victory for Glaive Esports Rose is written out. But Omega Gaming, don't put it past them. I've seen them come back from worse deficits. They still do have a chance in this game. They still have, the ability to kite out some of these fights, which is what I want to see them do. But unfortunately, if Adjustment has these enemy carries from Glaive Esports Rose just sitting right on top of his face, it's going to be a lot harder for him to be able to do anything in these fights.
And if I'm on the side of Glaive Esports Rose, the way I want to open up the base is having Totemax in the side lane while you keep the 4-man core strong together in the mid. That's all you need to do. Don't try to overplay it. Don't try to all 5 group up and just push one lane down. Because again, Totemax's strongest ability is that he's pretty much un-1v1able or un-1v2able at this point. So don't take your only power position and put him in the mid lane with the rest of your team.
Absolutely. Here, Viego going to get forced off of this way down towards the bottom lane as Adjustment trying to clear this one on out. We'll be able to get the majority of those minions down here, but just so much pressure coming out here from Glaive Esports Rose here right now. 31, 32 minutes into the game there. They only have so much poke available. Mid lane inhibitor going to be in some trouble now, but maybe looking for an engage. Fallen Artemis is pretty fast, but not quite fast enough. Viego still cracking away at that tier 3 bottom lane turret. One more auto, one more cannon shot will do it. The sub, though, in some trouble now. Gonna get into the zone. There on the back line. And Omega Gaming Unleashed is separated and dispersed. They're confused, but a double kill now over to Panda. Looking for a third, as that's gonna be the taunt. And Simulacrum gonna go up and down. Looking for it. Adjustment and Princeton, the only 2 last remaining of Omega Gaming Unleashed. These members have to try and hold the gates here, but against a fed Viego that you cannot see, and this slicing maelstrom. Adjustment actually is getting the kiting out here. Neo, though, could be a little bit of trouble. Princeton still alive as well, and Adjustment actually still can continue to kite this one out. But I just do not know if they have enough time. There's still 13, 15 seconds left, and that's just going to be the game, ladies and gentlemen. Glaive Esports Rose going to take this one down in dominating fashion. A couple hiccups from here or there. But that's going to be 1-1 in a series that, let me tell you what, did not disappoint.
No, not at all. And again, a great game by Glaive Esports Rose. We saw the solo laners. You mentioned them in game number 1, how dominating they are in lane and how much their CSD. And again, they came through. These guys absolutely dominated their matchups. They had great ability usage in these team fights. Totemax just went off on this Viego pick. And again, he was set up by his team, but once he got the lob and he absolutely dunked it on the side of on the heads of Omega Gaming Unleashed. GG's out to Glaive Esports Rose.
Honestly, a stellar performance there from the mid laner from Glaive Esports Rose. You really got to hand it to him there. Just doing an absolutely fine job. But with that being said, we're going to swap it on over to our analyst desk, where we're going to hear the wonderful opinions of Mac, Dewey, and Dory K on game number 2 of the Omega Gaming Unleashed versus Glaive Esports Rose matchup.